What if you entered a race with no clear finish line? What if winning meant nothing at all? And how far would obsession drive you before the race itself became meaningless? Welcome to Classic Storytime Hub. This is an unfinished race by Ambrose Bierce, fully rewritten in modern English with a suspenseful narrative style. Before we dive in, subscribe for your daily stories. Now, let's go. James Burne Worson was not a remarkable man, at least not to anyone passing through the narrow backstreets of Leamington, Warwickshire. By day, he bent over leather and nails in a modest shoemaker's shop tucked away from the main road to Warwick. To his neighbors, he was dependable, ordinary, quietly honest. But there was another version of Worson, one that emerged after the ale flowed too freely. Like many men of his station, drink loosened his tongue and inflated his confidence. Words turned reckless, boasts grew larger than sense, and wagers, foolish, impulsive wagers, had a way of finding him. On one such evening, his voice rose above the tavern's dull roar. He spoke of endurance, of strength, of speed, of distances that meant nothing to lesser men. Before reason could intervene, his pride collided with the impossible. He proposed a challenge not against another runner, but against the road itself. For the price of a single sovereign, James Worson declared he would run from Leamington to Coventry and back again. More than 40 miles of dust, stone, and open country. No shortcuts, no rest, just legs, breath, and stubborn will. The date was September 3rd, 1873. Almost immediately, he set off. Behind him followed witnesses rather than supporters. The man who had accepted the bet, his name lost to time, rode along in a light wagon. With him were Barham Wise, a linen draper, and Hamerson Burns, believed to be a photographer. They trailed at a cautious distance, watching as the lone figure ahead of them struck the road, step after determined step, racing not toward glory, but into uncertainty. Worson ran as if the road itself were beneath his control. His pace was relaxed, almost casual, his breathing steady, his stride confident. There was no sign of strain, no wavering. Whatever drink still lingered in his blood was not enough to dull what he truly possessed, an uncommon reserve of endurance. Behind him, the wagon rolled on at a respectful distance. The three men watched, amused and impressed in turns, tossing out bits of teasing and encouragement whenever the mood struck them. Laughter carried briefly on the open air, then faded back into the rhythm of wheels and footsteps. And then, without warning, it happened. Right there in the center of the road, barely a dozen yards ahead of them, with nothing to obstruct the view. Worson's stride broke. It was not a fall, not quite. His foot caught as though the ground itself had reached up for him. His body lurched forward, arms flung out in instinctive resistance. A single piercing scream tore from his throat, raw, southern, inhuman, and then he was gone. Not collapsed, not struck down, gone. He vanished before his body could meet the earth, disappearing in full sight of those watching him. No dust rose, no sound followed. The road lay empty where a living man had been only a heartbeat before. They stopped the wagon. They searched the ground. They scoured the roadside, the ditches, the fields beyond. Nothing. No mark, no trace, no explanation. James Burne Worson was never seen again. They lingered round the spot for what felt like hours, caught in a haze of disbelief and aimless hesitation. The empty road stretched before them, indifferent and silent, as if nothing had ever happened. Finally, with heavy hearts and unsettled minds, the three men turned their wagon back toward Leamington. When they arrived, they recounted what they had witnessed, a story so strange, so utterly impossible that it seemed to teeter on the edge of madness. Authorities listened, and soon they found themselves in custody, though not as criminals, simply as witnesses to an event that defied all explanation. Yet their reputations were solid. These were men of integrity, known for honesty and good conduct. At the time of the disappearance, they had been sober and composed. Despite the impossibility of their tale, nothing ever surfaced to undermine the truth of their sworn statements. Still, the public could not decide. Skepticism and awe battled across the United Kingdom. Some called it a trick, a deception, others a miracle or a curse. And if, by some unfathomable chance, the three men had chosen to conceal something, the method they selected would stand as one of the most astonishingly daring and incomprehensible acts ever conceived by rational minds.
And thus the story ended. If you liked this journey into the worlds of classic literature, do not forget to support us by subscribing so we can tell you more. And hey, if there's a classic tale you'd love to hear told in this suspenseful style, drop its name in the comments below. Your suggestion might be our next chilling adventure.